Hello and welcome to Geek Speak. We're your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jonathan.
And let's jump straight into the news. First bit of news is actually a bit of a mirror of the lead up to the events of Captain America Civil War and the Marvel Girl or Captain Marvel movies, with a lot of a sudden upswing in internet conversation over the character of Squirrel Girl. And a lot of people are saying that this might point to them in the future making a Squirrel Girl movie, and the one-time director of Ant-Man has even thrown his support behind Anna Kendrick to take on the title role.
I reckon she could do it.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl, much like Guardians of the Galaxy, is one of Marvel's lesser-known characters.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest achievement she has to note is it wasn't actually in her own comics, since she was only ever a supporting character in other comics, but in one of the Avengers comics that she was a part of. She explained she was late because she ran into a weird guy in a cloak in the park and beat him up. A story which was then corroborated in an issue of Fantastic Four, where it was revealed the weird guy in a cloak that she ran into and ended up beating up was in fact Dr. Doom, and she soundly whooped his ass. And this is a relatively minor character in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Now, being able to beat Dr. Doom, this is something that it takes an entire team of Avengers or Fantastic Four to do.
Doesn't make sense to me, though.
Oh,
I think it's more of a spoof.
well,
She's a spoof character.
she is a bit of a joke character, but that being said, in the official Marvel canon, she is the only person to have single-handedly beaten Dr. Doom in a fight.
Maybe they're trying to launch this series as a way of trying to show her as more a leading role.
Possibly. I mean, she is an unusual character, but it really will be... If they do make this into a movie, it would be very interesting to see, and it definitely has the potential to pull a Guardians of the Galaxy and go from obscurity to massive pop culture success.
I don't think so. I think it'll be one of those ones that only the die-hard fans will actually tack onto.
Well,
It might not even get in cinemas, you don't even know.
no, if Marvel and Disney make it, it'll get in cinemas. It's just a matter of whether they want to make a series based on such a minor character with such a niche appeal.
Well, that's the real problem with the character. It's got a really niche appeal, and they're going to have trouble marketing it, I reckon.
I don't know if they get the right actress. I mean, Anna Kendrick's not the first person to mention it, and in fact the tweet that Edgar Wright and her were having a joke about it was basically him pitching the idea to her as a Scott Pilgrim versus the World style movie, where she has to take on 7 evil previous movies and defeat them, which admittedly is a bit of a joke, but it'd still be... I think
if they want to make her a serious character, they've got to do a serious movie. That's the problem.
It's kind of a wild card. I mean, this could be a comedy movie set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would probably go a long way to lighten up the tone the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy did. They just have to find that balance of not going too funny into ridiculous and not going too serious into, like, Civil War style.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Alright, so my first story tonight is the MTG tournament down in Sydney 2016, which is finished today. Lucas Blowroll, sorry if I got that wrong, took out the top prize of 40k. Nice little treat there for him. Using a white-black control deck. Liliana, mostly.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know MTG, it is Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
White-black.
White-black, I've got to give him credit for that. Like, he's going up against some pretty powerful decks.
Yeah, white-black, even saying it's a white-black control, just white-black is not something you hear very often in Magic.
No, black is really hard enough.
Yeah, like
to run sometimes, but with white, like...
These are two normally opposing play styles, and to work them into a control deck,
well done.
That's impressive.
It is. I saw the deck list earlier, and he's done well, eh? Like, he's taken on some pretty hard stuff there, and he's done well.
Well,
I'm using mostly sorceries and instants as well. So
yeah, well,
creatures.
This was basically on a national championship level.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you were the one who found this, so how many actual entrants were there in the tournament?
I'm not too sure, but they did list the top 8, and there's more details on the website. There was a 250k prize pool, so for it to first prize to be 40k, I mean, there's going to be like some decent cash there for second to however many places would place.
And I mean, that 250k prize pool, that won't just be straight cash that they give people, that'd be like boxes of cards and other bits and bobs and
all that kind of
magic
stuff.
related paraphernalia.
Yeah, I was quite heavy into that scene once upon a time.
Yeah, I dabbled.
I dabbled with that, but yeah, going up against some heavy green decks, I reckon he would have had some trouble, but it's done well.
Yeah, so this is always good to see, the Australian gaming culture, and definitely congratulations to Mr. Blowhow. Or Blowho.
Sorry, we're not sure if that's correct.
Sorry, we're probably horribly mangling your surname, and we do apologise.
Yeah, it's really good to see someone.
Yeah. Now, my second story is kind of related to something we've spoken about before with Sword Art Online, and the recent news that it is most definitely getting an American-made live-action adaptation. Now, this news comes thanks to further news that the studio Skydance Media, who were the studio behind such major feature films as Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Jack Reacher, are going to be backing this and are actually pushing to fast-track it into development. Which, I don't know, I'm not sure on this, because every time we've seen an animated show or an anime, even a Western-made animation, go into live action, it has been a train wreck.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Just don't get me started on the animes that...
You've got the old Warner Brothers movies. I mean, you had some good ones, like the Warner Brothers Disney crossover in the 80s, Who Killed Roger Rabbit, and then you go to Space Jam, and it was middling, and then they haven't had a good live-action animation crossover since then. You look at...
Even the DBZ one was a bit under par for my liking. Sorry if anyone else liked it. But
I love DBZ.
Yeah, I love DBZ too.
The only way you could really enjoy the Evolution movie, and I mean really enjoy it, was if you had no prior knowledge of DBZ. And even then, that would probably cut out a third of the enjoyment, which is seeing characters you know on a big screen in live action.
It's very hard to take something in the anime world and just make it to that quality.
Yeah. I mean, even looking at Western animation that's been made into a movie, the Last Airbender movie, it was critically panned, it was panned by fans. There's a lot of people in the Avatar The Last Airbender community and the its follow-on series Korra, the Avatar The Legend of Korra, that just refuse to acknowledge that the Last Airbender movie is anything to do with Avatar The Last Airbender, because it is so shockingly bad.
It's just so, and I think it takes away like how different it is from the anime versus just the movie. Like, the problem with the movie is there's just not enough screen time. There's quite a lot of expenses that you wouldn't have.
With this, it wouldn't so much be a movie as they're actually making it a live action series. So it would have that screen time.
You would have the screen time, but I think that's where Airbender fell down, is there's a lot of detail in that series.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in one movie.
And, I mean, Sword Art Online, it would have to have a budget at least approaching the same level as, say, Game of Thrones, because not only will it need the CG of the just the user interface for the characters that are stuck in the Sword Art game within the series, but then they'd also have to use CG for any of the monsters. Some of the locations even would need CG.
And special effects for the attack styles.
Especially you see some of this stuff, and like there's one scene where one of the characters looks as if he's getting cut into bits, and admittedly, at that point he isn't really being all that hurt by it, but it's still a sword passing through him, and you would need to CG that. And
there's also well, in my opinion, I don't know about any of the viewers out here, is how they're going to take the later seasons in Sword Art. Because for my taste, they weren't even needed. Like, they should have stopped that series.
Admittedly, the manga for Sword Art went on a lot past that, but
for the
anime adaptation,
they didn't need it.
It was kind of interesting to see a bit more about the world after Sword Art, but the whole thing with the bullet battle, whatever it was called, the ballet of bullets, and the
bullet killer.
The whole thing with destroying one of the realms in that Norse mythology based game that they entered into. That was unnecessary.
It dragged on. Like,
they
should have cut it.
It was something they could have done both of those 12 episode arcs in half that easily, and it wouldn't have lost any impact. In fact, it probably would have gained more impact because it was a shorter span of time. You weren't sitting there going, "Well, that's not necessary. We didn't need to see that."
Yeah. I liked seeing the after effect of that series after the game, how they all, recovered, and the psychological impact side of things, but it dragged on too long, and it'll be interesting how they do that.
I really, I know when it comes to the anime, there wasn't a stylistic difference between in-game and out-of-game, really. But what I want to see is if they do that with the live action adaptation. That really is about the only thing I'm curious about with this series. Otherwise, if I really wanted to watch something Sword Art Online, I'd just go back and rewatch the first series.
Yeah, the first series definitely worth a watch. It was amazing, fantastic. Like, it just brought in a new whole era for the whole anime concept. There's a whole new genre because of them now. I dare say it.
There was stuff similar before that, but nothing where the characters were trapped and, like, where it had so many trapped in a life or death situation and you didn't know what was happening to the outside world.
And it's brought on, like, so many more series. Overlord has probably spawned off the book, but I mean, that's got an anime now as well, so it follows on.
Yeah, it's something that really exploded in popularity, and as much as we say this was a brilliant thing, it's not the first to do that kind of virtual world thing. Not. It won't be the last, but it's definitely one of the best.
And that's what set it apart.
Yeah.
So my second story for tonight is the Skyrim Reboot. Not sure if any of you guys out there have heard of it, but they've announced that Skyrim will be getting a reboot.
Yeah, basically getting a full graphical overhaul and a re-release on current gen systems.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier today that you're pretty happy about this because you're getting it for free.
Yep, it's coming out. It'll be full retail cost on the PS4 and Xbox One. And for anybody who has the Legendary Edition, I believe it is, the full edition with all of the DLC on the PC through Steam, you'll be, instead of having to fully download a new game, it'll basically just be a patch that'll increase the graphic quality to modern standards. Not that this game's really all that old.
It's and that's what troubles me with this. The game is not that old. They're trying to re-release something, and I'm not too sure if I like it, especially because I have a PS3 and I like to play my PS3, and I don't want to pay $90 for the new upgrade on the graphics.
Well, just having a PS3, you'd have to pay
I'd have to buy a PS4
to get a PS4 first.
But the problem, what really annoys me is the fact that they've actually come out and said, look, we're not doing it to Oblivion or Morrowind purely because that would require pretty much building a new game.
Yeah, I mean, the base architecture of Skyrim will still work on the PS4 or the Xbox One. It's just that they're basically doing the same thing with Skyrim that 343 Studios did to, and Bungie did to Halo Combat Evolved a few years ago, which is taking the base game and reworking the graphics and not changing anything else about it.
But what frustrates me though is Skyrim is already good enough. I want to see Morrowind get better.
Skyrim's good. I think the reason they're doing this
Oblivion
is because, a month after Skyrim came out, you could download a graphical overhaul mod that basically did to Skyrim what this new HD reboot will do to Skyrim. So for anybody who already has that patch, or that mod,
basically wasting their time.
Yeah, it's basically like Bethesda turned around and went, we don't have time to make a new game because we're working on Fallout 4. We're still doing DLC for that. We've just done Doom and we're supporting that. Rather than starting on a new game when we haven't finished supporting the two that we've got out, we're going to redo the graphics on this game and re-release it to keep people busy on that for a while until we can do a new one.
Which is nice.
But isn't really helped by the fact that they're also still releasing new content for Elder Scrolls Online, which was supposed to be the next big step in the Elder Scrolls universe, and
it's in beta testing, I think.
Oh no, it's in full open testing, or full open retail. It has been for a couple of years now.
The new stuff. I think they're doing an
expansion. They always beta, but they release a small expansion, and then they'll beta test a new one, then they'll release the new one, and the problem with Elder Scrolls Online is that as much as it's the the next game in the series. It's kind of like a racer who trips over every time the starting gun goes. It got out of the gate and fell flat on its face. And it hasn't recovered since.
Well, I'd really like to see games go the way of Elder Scrolls Online. I don't know if they're ready yet.
I really wouldn't want to see them go the way of Elder Scrolls Online because, like, just last month, they literally released a patch where you can start a character at level 100. You don't level a character to level 100, you start at level 100 so you can go anywhere and do anything. You don't have to work through all the levels and all the story to get to level 100 first. And I just can't get past that being basically pay to win. Yeah. And it's been said about mobile games, it's been said about Facebook games, I'll say it right here and now about this game. Pay to win is the worst thing to ever happen to games.
I agree. Like, it's no fun anymore when you get some people paying for what you've done.
I mean, even back in World of Warcraft days, with people who were buying characters, or buying accounts because of characters, yeah, it's great, you've got this max level character that's totally geared up, top tier, whatever you need it to do, but you have like, most of these people who buy these characters have absolutely no idea what the fuck they're doing with them. And they'll go, oh yeah, look, I've got this gear, I'm ready to go in a raid, what the hell do I do? What do any of my abilities do? Because they haven't spent the last 60 or 100, and very soon it'll be 110 levels, learning the mechanics of the character, figuring out how its abilities work, what ability to use at what time, what type of stats to get on the gear that they're looking for. And it's kind of the same thing, and it's just rubbish.
Yeah, it is pay to win. It's never popular with the die-hard gamers, I think. I always get sad whenever I see it.
Back to the main topic at hand here, the
Skyrim
Reboot.
Yeah, we got a little bit off topic there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I mean, I had Skyrim on PS3. I've got the Legendary Edition on PC. I'm getting this for free either way. I've already 100%ed the game, all achievements and everything. So it's not going to make a big difference to me. I'm just thinking that for a game that's now 4 or 5 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Selling it as a
new product,
just doing the HD, that's fine. Got no problem with doing a HD upscale of it or a redesign of the graphics even. The problem I have with it is if that's all they're doing and then selling it as a new AAA game at $90 as a $90 to $100 retail as it will be over here, versus going, well, here's an upscaled game and here we've added all this extra content into it because it's a reboot and it's a new system, so here's all that as well. And
I mean, how can you expect people to pay $90 just for better graphics?
Yeah, I mean, instead of going out and buying this new Skyrim HD on your PS4 or your Xbox One, just wander up the shops, go into your local game store, even if you're lucky one of your local department stores might have an old copy, find their PS3 section, pick up Skyrim Legendary, play it on your your last gen console, and you'll get all that content with still quite impressive graphics.
Quite impressive, yeah.
And I don't know, you'll pay at most $60 for it. If you're really lucky and you can find it second hand in a store, you'll pay maybe $20 or $30.
I guarantee you, Gumtree, you get it $20.
Yeah.
And it could be scratched. It couldn't be but you know, $20.
Yeah.
$20.
Unless you're a
Saves 90.
Unless you're one of those people that's completely obsessed over graphics, it's not going to matter to you that it doesn't look as fancy as this game that just got released by a brand new company on the new current gen console. It's the reason these games were so popular was because of the world and the gameplay, not because it looked fancy.
Yeah, that's the real problem I have with Bethesda doing that. It's just that they're trying to sell a new game that they shouldn't be. But I like
that being said, if you're excited over this, or like us, you think that making people pay full cost for a game that came out 5 years ago is a bad idea, give us a shout in the comments below and let's start a conversation over it.